Those days, are you kidding me? I had to juggle the ball in a gas station because nobody knew what soccer was.
This is Soccer a la Frontera, and we're diving into the growth of soccer culture in San Diego and Tijuana, from the streets to the stadiums. Today, soccer is everywhere in the San Diego-Tijuana border region. We have 4 top-level professional teams, plenty of adult recreational leagues, and year-round youth programs.
I've got the Wave, I've got the new team here, San Diego FC here. That's one of them on the front, and there's the other one on the back.
But to really understand where we're at and how far we've come, we need to rewind the clock by over half a century.
When I was a kid, I was one of the kids that was screaming and yelling at the stadium and banging on the chairs.
The year was 1968, and San Diego had its first professional team. They were called the San Diego Toros, and they played at Old Balboa Stadium. It was short-lived bliss. The club folded after just 1 season, but the foundation was laid.
That was happening in the sport of soccer, not only during that time, but even all the way into the early 80s. I mean, teams were popping up and teams were disappearing.
It took more than a half-decade, until 1976, for another professional team to make the scene. They called themselves the Jaws. Yet again, after 1 season, the Jaws suffered the same fate as the Toros. But the next attempt will be the one that stuck.
Here, sitting in the same room with Pelé and Bobby Moore, Mike England, he's a Welsh, there's Giorgio Chinaglia, the Italian from Roma.
And this is you.
And that's me, yeah.
In 1978, the San Diego Sockers were born. And unlike their predecessors, they had a charismatic star, Julie V.
He was a veritable scoring machine.
Starting as an outdoor team, playing games at Jack Murphy Stadium, the first few years for the Sockers were rough. But a move indoors in the 80s to San Diego Sports Arena changed everything for the franchise and for professional soccer in our region.
When professional soccer went away, outdoors, the only league to play was indoor. Great level of play. It was like soccer inside, kept you in a battle.
They were a self-proclaimed blue-collar team, full of international players including V and several others who had defected from Soviet bloc countries.
And the Sockers were drawing 8 and 10,000, 11,000, 15,000 at some point. And so they were starting to outdraw the Padres.
With art aficionado V as their Picasso, they were full of creativity, flair, and excitement.
Now, don't forget, the early Sockers had Hugo Sanchez and Leo Cuellar, both Cuellar, the captain of the Mexican national team, and Hugo Sanchez, probably arguably still today, the greatest Mexican player of all time.
They dominated the multiple nationwide indoor soccer leagues, winning 10 league titles in 11 years.
Growing up, living in Mira Mesa, there was only the San Diego Sockers. There was nothing else.
In a town of otherwise championless sports teams, the Sockers stood out and helped to spread the culture of the sport.
The Sockers were winners, and this city was all about supporting winning teams.
And even went on to have the longest winning streak in U.S. professional soccer history, 48 consecutive wins from 2010 to 2013.
Somos el rival a vencer, es como si estuvieras jugando contra el América en la Liga MX, pero aquí de la MSL, y la verdad sí es una responsabilidad grande, pero pues es algo que al menos en lo personal a mí me gusta.
Even after all the decades, they've kept up their winning ways and laid the groundwork for a massive movement in professional soccer on both sides of the San Diego-Tijuana border.
Fan base for soccer now in San Diego is huge. It's continuously growing. You think we're at a big level now, wait for 5 more years, win SDFC. Imagine SDFC winning the championship, or the Wave winning the championship, and what that brings to the city.
While keeping true to their international working class origins.
Es muy diferente al soccer, hay más contacto, pues más goles, lo vives más cerca y nomás invitarlos a que nos apoyen y que nosotros vamos a estar peleando cada partido.
Up next on Soccer a la Frontera, Part 3, the rise of women's soccer in our cross-border region.